my hands are on the steering wheel, you know. That's like legit. I was like, I'm gonna die. Does anyone know your stories? I have a ton of stories to tell.
Look deep into your psyche.
And most of them are stupid.
I can't. Oh my god.
I would kill to hear my dad's stories.
Ooh, this too shall pass.
I remember my grandpa telling me stories.
Get off my lawn!
Oh my god,
All the children.
I'm telling me crazy crap that they did in their youth. Most embarrassing moment.
Sit down in the garden. And he's like, oh, sorry, I'm laughing at my own stories. You don't even know what they are yet.
Story time. Dad's stories. I was talking with somebody earlier today about the cars that I have owned. And I remember my first car was handed down to me by my mom because she got a new car. It was a Chevy Lumina. That was the new car she got. The car that I got was a 1989 Plymouth Voyager. It's essentially the same thing as a Dodge Caravan, but it was Plymouth, which was like the best value or great value of Dodge. So I got this van. It was old. I remember buying it when my parents buying it when I was a kid, living in California. So, because one of the most embarrassing moments, oh my God, didn't know the story would bring back that memory. The reason I know we bought that car when I was a kid, because it was like this red van, right? The red minivan. And when my parents were purchasing the vehicle, my dad was talking with the salesman. We were standing outside of the van. And I don't remember everything because I was a kid, but the salesman says to my dad, like, well, what do you think is fair? And with all the earnest truth of a, I don't know, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, I don't know, I was pretty young. Look up at the guy and I say, $30 a month. And him and my dad both laugh. I bury my face. $30. Man, that's fair, right? I mean, why not? But anyways, that's not what the story's about. Old ass van. That was my first car. I actually rather liked it. I've always liked vans. I don't care what people think, but, you know, especially in high school, I was saying that my van had purposes that other people's little hatchbacks didn't have. But anyways, this particular story about the van, I worked at McDonald's. Pretty much the day I turned 16, I tried getting a job there and harassed the manager before I was 16, and harassed the manager until he hired me. His name was Dauda. He was actually a good manager. A little bit intense, but good. So I worked at McDonald's, and as well as my best friend Dale and a guy named Lester. We're still Facebook friends. So I had 1989 Plymouth Voyager. Maroon, by the way, not red. Maroon. There is a difference, apparently. Dale drove a Ford Festiva, which was a little 2-door hatchback, and his was a stick shift. It was a little 5-speed manual, little 4-banger, and it was beat up. Like, it had a gas leak, which is another funny story, but focus! Jameson, good Lord. So he had a Ford Festiva, I think also an 80s model. And then Lester had a, I want to say it was called a Talon or Spider. I think it was a Talon. It was like the Spider Eclipse or something, but it was a Talon. And it was basically a little 2-door sports car. Also 5-speed, I think. But his was like a sports car. And mine was a minivan, and Dale's was a brick with wheels. And I mean, granted, his little 4-banger could outpace my van any day of the week. But one of the few things I enjoyed doing, like a stupid teenager, was driving irresponsibly. And yeah, I didn't do drugs, didn't really drink. I drove like a maniac sometimes. So, anyways, this particular driving story, it involves getting off of work at like, I don't know, midnight. And me and Dale and Lester were going to go to Dale's house, which was in the middle of friggin' nowhere. To get to Dale's house from McDonald's, you had to go down one 2-lane country highway, or 4-lane country highway. That turned into a 2-lane country highway. That then turned into one of the creepiest roads ever. It was a little 2-lane highway, basically cutting through fields. Little couple of S curves to his little house in the middle of nowhere, where there was literally a church, his house, a post office that was like 10 feet wide, and a gas station, like a hole in the wall gas station. So late at night, we decided to go out there, and we had been so many times. So this is not the first time we had driven down that road, and all three of us driving our separate cars. We always ended up racing down there, relatively. I mean, not like super recklessly, but racing. And they always beat me. So I thought this time I'm going to win. It was dark, it was late, and there was virtually no cars on this road. Like, very rarely did you see a car. But the great thing about this road was it was long, but it was like just a straight line with a little S curve here, straight line, little S curve here, straight line. Like, it was just straight with an S curve and another S curve. So straight, flat, fields. So Dale is, we were kind of racing. You're racing. Down this road, and I'm getting demolished like I always do. So I think to myself, element of surprise, right? Oh God. So they get ahead of me, and I'm like, okay, whatever. So we kind of calm down. We pull down. We're still speeding, but not horribly. And I'm falling back slowly, and I turn off my lights. Because I was crazy. Very reckless, never do that. But I was driving, and it was actually really bright. There was like no clouds in the sky, but it was still dark. It was nighttime. So I turn off my lights, and I follow them all the way through an S curve and everything. So they think that I'm just not directly behind them anymore. And I had dropped back quite a ways, but I could see them. And oh man, so this van was before governors. Like governors, they slow your speed at a certain amount of speed, so you cannot go over speed. So this would just go until the engine was going to explode. So I punched it in this 6-cylinder minivan, and I'm flying down the road. I get up to like I want to say it was like just under 125. No joke. And it was like, my hands are on the steering wheel, and like legit. I was like, I'm gonna die. But here comes Dale's car coming up in front of me, and I get in the second lane, the oncoming lane, but there's nothing oncoming. And I get up close to it. Oh God. And as I'm flying by him, because he's like going 55 at this point, I go boom by him, and I lay on the horn. And there was this moment, like in movies, where it's like slow motion, you like lock eyes with the person. It was like that. So I'm like, I look out the window at him, and he's right there, because of course I passed him on the left, and we like lock eyes, And I just see him like over there. He's like, and he's like, oh my god, all over the road, scared the out of him. And I just keep going. I'm like, I am catching Lester in his unfairly fast vehicle. And he was maybe going, 60 at that point, whatever. He was not going fast. So I did the same thing to him, except for I wasn't going to let him catch up immediately, so I wasn't like looking, I just got Dale's face. Like, oh my god, it was, his eyes were like, bam. Oh my god, I'll never forget that face. The fact that I saw that face going at that speed. So I fly by Lester. Like, whoa, same thing. Lay it on the horn. He's all over the road. Not as bad as Dale. Oh my god. I fly by him and I can see him kind of like, whoa, what was that? He gets off the road a little bit. And I keep going because I'm like, Lester will be able to catch me in no time. No time at all. So I fly by. And I get out in front. I'm laughing. I'm crying because it's so funny. It's so funny. And then I slow down. And there's this last straightaway. And he flies by me, like just like I thought, except for I saw him coming. I don't know if his lights were off at that point, but I knew he was coming. I was watching. And this car is also bright new and shiny. Well, not new, but shinier than ours by far. And he flies by me, and I was like, okay, yeah. I expected that. It's not as good when you do it because my big van was falling apart. Oh my god. So then, Lester, being a very smart individual, he flies past us. So there was this one last little part of the road to get into his house where it was just this little slow 2-lane highway. It was curving though a lot. So he pulled off the road into like a driveway that was right around a blind corner. So I passed the road and I was going the speed limit at that point, because most of the time I went the speed limit, but when I was stupid, I was stupid. Gotta make it worth it. If you're gonna be stupid, you gotta make it worth it, As I come around this corner, Lester throws on his lights as I pass him on my side, and I thought it was a cop, and that's exactly what he was going for. I was like, oh, and I look over and I'm like, oh no, I'm speeding. And it whips out behind me and his lights are like flashing on and on and off, to simulate. I'm assuming that's what he was trying to do because it worked. I was like, oh my God, I'm getting pulled over. They must have seen what I did. And then I realized like 4 seconds later, I was like, damn it, he got me back. And then like 4 seconds later, we pulled into Dale's house and I get out and I'm rolling at that point, because I can just imagine. And then Lesser, pulls in right behind me and calling me names. And it's funny, like everyone's having a good time. And Dale comes creeping in a couple minutes later, like he clearly was shaken by the experience. Oh, he got out of the car. He like clocked me in the arm. Well deserved. It was, but he also thought it was funny. I don't know. We've never really talked about it. And this is one of those stories that like, not defined, but definitely something I remember. Oh God, yes, it's funny. Moral of the story: don't drive stupid. I mean, I guess there's really no lesson other than it was a funny story. But yeah, you shouldn't do that. Now I'm an old grandpa driver, and I almost always follow the rules of the road because bad drivers suck. Where I live is full of them. Anyways, thank you for listening to my story. I'm sure there will be many more. I'm still not sure how this whole thing is working, but I'm going to post some anyways. Haven't posted one yet, but there's quite a few made. And I'm just going to keep telling these. And, if you ever have a story, if somebody wants to see this and they don't want to tell it themselves and you want to send it to me and we'll tell the story, I'll do that for you because these stories deserve to be told. It may not mean anything to anyone else. It was hilarious to me. And when I tell people about it in real life, they tend to get a laugh out of it. And that's all I'm looking for, want to see people smile, have a good time. And I don't know if you've seen any of my other videos, but I would kill. My mouth's so dry. I would kill to hear one of my dad's stories. To see him say it would be freaking magical, and I can't because he's gone. And this technology exists now, so why not use it? Even though I don't like putting this on video. Someday, maybe they'll want to see it. Maybe somebody else will want to hear it. Who knows? Try to have a good day. You did something awesome today, just look back, you'll find it. Even if it was just you blew your nose really good. It's a solid nose blow. Or you have one of those really amazing bathroom breaks that you start singing in the middle of it and you're like, oh, it's beautiful. Something. Or you made somebody else smile. And that's beautiful in its own right. So keep on being awesome. Be awesome to other people. Or at least be nice. And if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Classic dad advice. Just don't be a dick. The world doesn't need more dick. Have a great day. Thank you. Deuces.